Have you ever felt like there is more to life than what meets the eye? In a world full of distractions and superficialities, the ability to activate your inner vision and discover the invisible can change your life completely. If you are ready to delve deeper into your being and explore a universe of hidden possibilities, this video is for you. Hi, I'm Cosmin, and I have spent years helping people unlock their inner potential through personal transformation and self-awareness. I have guided hundreds of individuals on their path to personal growth, offering workshops, consultations, and several ebooks that have positively impacted their lives. My goal is to accompany you on this journey so that you can experience the richness of life in a whole new way. This video is not for everyone. If you feel trapped in the daily grind, if you long for a deeper connection with yourself and the universe, or if you are willing to look beyond the obvious, then stay until the end. I will reveal the keys to activate your inner vision and discover the invisible that surrounds you. Human beings are, by nature, designed to perceive the world around them through their physical senses. However, there is a much deeper perception, a latent capacity in each of us: inner vision. This does not depend on what we can see with our eyes, but on what we can feel, intuit, and understand at a higher level of consciousness. Inner vision is what allows us to see the invisible, connect with more subtle dimensions of reality, and understand the truths that the material world often hides. Awakening this inner vision is a process that involves looking beyond the obvious. It is not just about seeing in the literal sense, but about developing a perception that allows us to interpret the symbols, signs, and synchronicities that life presents to us. It is the ability to look into the heart of events and find the underlying purpose in them. It is seeing with the eyes of the soul, where invisible realities become tangible. We live in a world where what can be measured and observed with the physical senses tends to be the only thing accepted as real. From an early age, we learn to rely on what we can see, hear, touch, and in doing so we limit our perception of reality. This exclusive reliance on the senses keeps us in a state of blindness to the deeper dimensions of existence. We become unable to perceive what is hidden in the invisible because we are so focused on the visible. It is important to recognize that our physical senses, while valuable tools, can also deceive us. Often, what we perceive through them is only a fraction of the total reality. Light, color, sound, and texture can influence our interpretation of the world, but they are only superficial layers. There is a deeper reality that cannot be measured with instruments or captured with the eyes. This is where inner vision comes into play. To activate inner vision, the first step is to cultivate silence. It is not just about external silence, although this is helpful, but an internal silence, one that allows us to disconnect from the constant noise of our minds, thoughts, and emotions. When the mind is calm, we can begin to perceive what has always been present, but that we had not noticed due to the mental noise. Inner silence is the portal to the invisible. By quieting our thoughts, we create space for a more subtle and deeper perception to emerge. This silence is not empty, but full of possibility. In silence, we learn to listen with the heart and see with the soul. The clarity that comes from this inner stillness opens the door to a kind of knowledge that cannot be acquired through books or external experiences. Intuition is the spark that ignites inner vision. We often think of intuition as a gut feeling or a hunch, but it is much more than that. It is the ability to perceive the truth without complex reasoning, to grasp the essence of a situation without having to break it down intellectually. Intuition is the voice of our soul, guiding us through the unseen to what is truly real. To activate intuition, you need to trust it. In a world that values the rational so highly, intuition is often dismissed as irrational or inaccurate. However, it is precisely the opposite. Intuition, when well developed, is an extremely accurate tool. It allows us to see what the physical eyes cannot see and understand what the logical mind cannot understand. It is a form of wisdom that comes from a much deeper source than conscious thought. Awakening inner vision also involves learning to see beyond appearances. Things are not always what they seem to be. Reality, as we perceive it, is full of hidden layers and meanings. What may at one moment seem like a failure or a difficulty, when seen with inner vision, can reveal itself as an opportunity for growth or a vital lesson for our development. This ability to see beyond appearances allows us to perceive the truth behind the masks that situations or people may present. When we activate our inner vision, we begin to realize that every event in our life has a deeper purpose, and every person we interact with is playing a role in our journey of self-discovery. The process of activating inner vision is a journey into the invisible. It is not about getting immediate answers or discovering all the secrets of life in an instant. It is a gradual process of deepening our own consciousness and the reality around us. It is a continuous exploration of the truths hidden behind what appears to be. To embark on this journey, we need to open ourselves to the possibility that there is more than what our physical senses show us. We need to be willing to trust our intuition and explore our inner perceptions. Inner vision allows us to understand that the visible world is only a small part of a much vaster and interconnected reality. To see the invisible is to learn to live with the eyes of the soul open, receptive to the deep truths that surround us and that dwell within our very being. This is just the first phase of awakening your inner vision. The path to the invisible is full of discoveries, challenges, and revelations, but each step will bring you closer to a deeper understanding of yourself and the universe. As you continue this journey, you will explore the tools and principles that will allow you to see beyond appearances, activate your intuition, and connect with the invisible in a transformative way. To continue the journey toward activating inner vision, it is essential to address one key aspect: the ego. The ego, in its most basic form, is the identity we have built over time based on our experiences, beliefs, and perceptions of the world. It gives us a sense of separation and individuality, which is helpful in certain aspects of everyday life, but it can also become a barrier that prevents us from seeing beyond the visible. The ego keeps us trapped in the illusion that we are only what we think, feel, and experience on a superficial level. The problem with the ego is that it tends to focus on I and mine, limiting our ability to connect with something bigger than ourselves. It makes us believe that what we perceive with our physical senses is all that exists, and anything outside of this is irrelevant or non-existent. This limitation is what blocks our inner vision. To activate our ability to see the invisible, we must break through these barriers built by the ego. The ego, by its nature, seeks to have control over reality. It makes us believe that if we can control our circumstances, we can understand the totality of life. However, this belief is an illusion. The universe and existence itself are much vaster and more complex than the ego can comprehend. There are invisible forces at play, connections that go beyond what we can perceive with the logical mind. The ego's attempt to control everything blinds us to these deeper realities. One of the first steps to breaking through the barriers of ego is to accept that not everything is under our control and that there is a wisdom greater than that of the individual I. As we let go of the desire to control, we open ourselves to the possibility of seeing what is beyond the immediate. Control, while comfortable for the ego, is a form of limitation. Letting go of this need to dominate our reality allows us to be more receptive to the unseen. Humility is one of the most powerful keys to activating inner vision. When we approach life with humility, we recognize that we do not know everything and that there is always something more to discover. This openness allows us to see things with new eyes as we are willing to learn and receive. The ego, on the other hand, tends to resist this humility because it likes to feel in control and know it all. However, humility connects us to a greater wisdom, helps us see beyond appearances, and receive the knowledge that comes from the invisible. Practicing humility also means being willing to learn from our experiences, even those that the ego might perceive as failures or difficulties. These experiences are often the ones that teach us the most, as they show us the aspects of ourselves that need to be transformed or released. Through humility, we can see the deeper purpose behind each situation, allowing us to activate a clearer, more penetrating view of reality. Activating inner vision requires a gradual dissolution of the ego. It is not about eliminating it completely, since it serves a necessary function in life, but rather about reducing its influence on our perception of reality. When the ego stops dominating our vision, we begin to perceive the world from a broader perspective. We begin to see ourselves as part of a greater whole, not as isolated and independent beings. This dissolution of the ego connects us with the invisible, with the forces that operate beyond what we can control or predict. To dissolve the ego, it is important to practice self-awareness. This involves observing our thoughts, emotions, and reactions from a neutral perspective without completely identifying with them. When we observe the ego in action, we begin to notice how it filters our perceptions and keeps us trapped in limited patterns of thinking. This self-awareness gives us the power to turn off the ego and allow inner vision to begin to reveal itself. Surrender is another key principle in this process. Surrender does not mean resigning or giving up, but accepting that there is a greater order operating in our lives and that we can trust in it. When we surrender, we stop fighting against what we cannot control and allow ourselves to flow with the invisible currents of the universe. This surrender opens us to deeper perception as it connects us to the wisdom of the unseen. By surrendering, we let go of ego expectations and projections, allowing us to see things as they are, not as we want them to be. This clarity of perception is essential to activating inner vision. We realize that we are not separate from the flow of life, but rather a part of it. In this state of surrender, we can perceive the unseen more clearly, because we are no longer trying to impose our own limited version of reality. When we are able to dissolve the ego and practice surrender, we begin to feel connected to the whole. This connection allows us to see beyond the limits of our individual experience and perceive the interconnectedness of all things. Insight, at its core, is the ability to see this interconnectedness, to understand that everything that happens in our lives and in the universe has purpose and meaning. This connection to the whole is not an abstract concept, but a profound experience of unity. We realize that we are part of a much larger universe, and that by activating our inner vision, we can align ourselves with the invisible forces that guide our lives. The feeling of separation dissolves, and we begin to see the invisible as a natural part of our reality. Once we break through the barriers of ego, trust in the invisible becomes critical. As we move through the process of awakening inner vision, it is necessary to trust in what we cannot always see immediately. This requires faith, not in the religious sense, but in the sense of a deep trust in the underlying order of life. Knowing that the invisible is always present, even when our physical eyes cannot detect it, is an essential part of awakening our inner vision. Trusting the invisible allows us to live with greater peace and clarity. We know that there is a higher intelligence operating in our lives, guiding us to where we need to be. This trust frees us from fear and anxiety, which are creations of the ego, and allows us to walk confidently into the unknown, knowing that there is always an invisible hand holding us. To activate your inner vision and see the invisible, it is crucial to awaken a deeper level of consciousness. This awakening is not something that happens instantly, but a gradual process of self-discovery and expansion of the mind beyond conventional boundaries. As you delve deeper into your awareness, you begin to perceive what was hidden from plain sight. The invisible connections that underlie all things and the subtle flow of life that guides every experience. An essential aspect of this process is understanding the difference between the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. The conscious mind is the part of you that deals with daily life, making decisions based on logic and what you can perceive with your physical senses. However, The unconscious mind is much more vast and powerful. It is the repository of all your experiences, memories, thoughts, and emotions, many of which are not directly accessible, but which profoundly influence your perception of reality. Awakening deep consciousness involves bringing the contents of your unconscious mind to light. Many of the blocks that prevent us from seeing the invisible come from unconscious patterns that we have accumulated throughout life. These patterns keep us trapped in a limited vision, in which we can only see what our conscious mind is prepared to process. Awakening inner vision requires an integration between the conscious and unconscious mind, so that both levels work in harmony. To activate your inner vision, it is necessary to dive into the depths of the unconscious. This is where the symbols, archetypes, and deepest truths that guide our existence reside. The unconscious mind speaks through images, dreams, and sensations that often make no sense on a logical level, but contain immense wisdom. One of the most effective methods for exploring the unconscious is deep meditation or guided introspection. Through these practices, you can begin to unlock hidden aspects of your psyche and access the messages your inner vision is trying to communicate. It is in the state of deep relaxation that the veil between the conscious and the unconscious dissolves, allowing insights into the invisible to emerge. Dreams are a key channel to awakening your inner vision. Often, our unconscious minds send us messages through dreams, using symbols and situations that reflect deeper truths about our lives. These symbols may seem chaotic or confusing, but they hold essential clues to expanding our consciousness. Paying attention to your dreams and keeping a dream journal can be a powerful tool for activating your inner vision. As you delve deeper into dream analysis, you begin to recognize recurring patterns, symbolic themes, and messages that point to unseen realities in your everyday life. Not only does this practice help you better understand your own unconscious, but it also opens you up to understanding the invisible worlds that constantly interact with your conscious reality. The world of the invisible communicates through symbols, a language that transcends the words and logical structures we use in our daily lives. Symbols are not simply random images. They are representations of archetypal truths that touch the depths of our psyche. By learning to interpret and decipher these symbols, we can begin to see the invisible in a clearer and more precise way. For example, in many ancient cultures, certain animals, geometric shapes, and natural phenomena were considered to carry spiritual messages. These symbolic representations were recognized as windows into deeper dimensions of reality. By training your mind to see beyond surface appearances, you begin to perceive these symbols in your environment, allowing you to access a deeper understanding of your life and the invisible forces that shape it. One of the greatest allies in awakening deep consciousness is intuition. Intuition is that inner feeling that guides you toward decisions or paths that you often cannot justify with logic, but that you deeply feel are correct. It is the way the invisible manifests itself in your daily life, providing you with an internal compass that guides you. Activating your inner vision also means learning to trust this intuition. Oftentimes, the ego and rational mind may try to dismiss intuition as irrational or illogical, but in doing so, we are blocking a vital source of wisdom. Intuition is one of the purest forms of connection with the unseen, as it is not limited by the restrictions of linear thinking or superficial perceptions. Developing your intuition takes practice and trust. Start by paying attention to those hunches, feelings, or inner impulses that seem to come from a place deeper than the conscious mind. As you trust and follow your intuition, you'll find it guides you toward paths and experiences that expand your view of life and allow you to see what was previously invisible. Another key tool to awaken deep awareness is listening. Not just listening to words, but listening to silences, to the spaces between sounds, and to the subtle signals that surround you. Listening deeply allows you to perceive the finest vibrations of reality, those that are not captured by the ears, but by the heart and open mind. Listening deeply to people, to nature, and even to your own inner self connects you to what is beyond words and forms. It is a practice that requires patience and a willingness to be present in the moment. As you cultivate this deep listening, you begin to pick up on invisible messages that previously went unnoticed. To activate your inner vision and see the invisible, it is also essential to release the conditioned perceptions that you have accumulated throughout your life. These conditioned perceptions are the beliefs, judgments, and expectations that you have inherited from your environment, your upbringing, and your experiences. They function as lenses that distort your view of reality, limiting what you can see and understand. Awakening deep awareness involves questioning these perceptions and being willing to dismantle them. This can be a challenging process, as many of our conditioned beliefs are unconscious and deeply rooted in our psyche. However, in doing so, you open up space for new insights and understandings that allow you to see the invisible more clearly. Awakening deep consciousness is an ongoing process, not a final destination. It requires practice, patience, and a willingness to let go of the known and venture into the unknown. As you immerse yourself in this process, you begin to see beyond appearances and grasp the hidden truths that underlie every moment of your life. This awakening not only allows you to see the invisible, but it also transforms you from within. It opens you to a vaster, more connected reality, where the boundaries between the visible and invisible dissolve. Through this process, you become a channel of wisdom and vision, able to navigate life with greater clarity, intuition, and connection to the invisible forces that guide your path. As you delve deeper into the process of activating your inner vision, you will inevitably be confronted with one of the greatest barriers to seeing the invisible, the ego. The ego, while necessary for our identity and survival in the physical world, acts as a limiting filter when it comes to perceiving what lies beyond the immediate. In order to see the invisible, it is crucial to transcend the boundaries of the ego and connect with a deeper, more expansive part of yourself. The ego manifests in your life as the inner voice that identifies you with who you have learned to believe yourself to be, your accomplishments, your possessions, your social image, your fears and desires. While the ego plays an important role in maintaining your sense of individuality, it is also the source of many of the illusions that prevent you from seeing beyond the visible. The ego tends to focus on separation and the tangible, which restricts your ability to perceive the interconnectedness of all things. Activating your inner vision requires you to observe the role of the ego in your life, to recognize its mechanisms and how it tries to keep you anchored to superficial reality. The ego fears the unknown because it perceives it as a threat to its control. However, it is precisely by letting go of the ego's control that you can open yourself to deeper, more spiritual vision. One of the biggest challenges in working with the ego is its tendency to cling to the familiar and to what can be measured or quantified. The ego is the part of you that doubts the unseen, that seeks tangible proof and resists trusting what cannot be seen or explained. But the unseen cannot be understood through the ego's limited lens. You must learn to transcend this barrier and open yourself to a more expansive reality. Often, the ego clings to fears and limiting beliefs that keep you imprisoned in a diminished version of yourself. These fears can manifest as doubts about your ability to perceive the invisible or the belief that only what you can see with your physical eyes is real. To activate your inner vision, you need to recognize these internal barriers and begin to consciously dismantle them. One of the most transformative steps in transcending the boundaries of ego is the act of surrender. This surrender is not an act of weakness, but an act of liberation from control. By letting go of the need to control every aspect of your life, you open yourself up to possibilities that were previously hidden. Surrender is an opening to the unknown, to the faith that the unseen is also a vital part of reality. Surrender involves trusting intuition, the natural processes of life, and the wisdom that flows beyond conscious understanding. This is where your inner vision begins to emerge because you stop imposing your own mental limits on what is possible. By relinquishing ego control, you allow deeper insight to emerge, one that is not conditioned by the fears or insecurities of the ego. A powerful tool for transcending the ego is to cultivate a beginner's mind, This idea comes from an ancient philosophy, which suggests that when we approach life with a beginner's attitude, without prior assumptions or preconceived ideas, we are open to all possibilities. The ego, on the other hand, tends to impose its beliefs and judgments on everything we experience, blocking openness to new perceptions. The beginner's mind is a mind free of expectations, eager to learn and discover. In this state of openness, the ego becomes more flexible and less dominant, allowing deeper insights to emerge. To activate your inner vision, it is essential to approach your life with this mindset, to be willing to unlearn, to let go of limiting beliefs, and to be fully present in the moment. The ego thrives on noise, both external and internal. It feeds on constant mental dialogue, judgments, and comparisons. To transcend the ego and see the invisible, you must learn to cultivate inner silence. This silence is not just the absence of words, but a state of deep stillness where the ego stops interfering and you can access a deeper truth. Through practices like meditation and contemplation, you can train yourself to find this inner silence. It is in this space that the invisible begins to reveal itself. By silencing the noise of the ego, you open yourself up to hearing the voice of your inner self, a voice that is connected to the invisible and can guide you toward new ways of seeing the world. Another key aspect of transcending the ego is detachment. The ego tends to identify strongly with roles, labels, and situations. These identifications create a rigid framework in which the ego operates and limits your vision. Detachment doesn't mean you withdraw from life, but rather you let go of the need to hold on to certain identities or outcomes. When you let go of expectations and the need to control the outcome of every situation, you allow life to flow more freely and naturally. This opens the door to new insights. Detachment allows you to see the invisible because you are no longer trapped in the limitations of the ego and its desires. As you transcend the ego, you begin to realize that the invisible is not separate from you, but an integral part of your experience. The invisible is always present, guiding, influencing, and connecting everything that exists. When the ego no longer dominates your perception, you can see this invisible web of connections and understand that you are not alone or separate from everything. Activating your inner vision is ultimately a way to remember this truth. When you let go of the ego's restrictions and connect with your deeper self, you open yourself up to a much vaster and richer reality. Seeing the invisible is not a magic trick or a gift reserved for a few. It is a natural ability that we all possess, but it is hidden behind the illusions of the ego. To transcend the boundaries of the ego, you must learn to trust your inner guidance. This guidance does not come from the ego, but from a deeper source within you. It is the voice that whispers to you in moments of stillness, the feeling that drives you to follow a path, even if you cannot see it clearly. By trusting this inner guidance, you open yourself to the wisdom of the unseen and begin to see the world with new eyes. This trust in the unseen is essential to activating your inner vision. The ego will always want proof, assurance, and guarantee, but the path to the unseen does not follow those rules. By learning to trust inner guidance, you allow yourself to walk in faith, knowing that there are unseen forces supporting you and guiding you toward your highest purpose. While transcending the ego is crucial to activating your inner vision, it doesn't mean you should eliminate or fight it. The ego also has a purpose in your life, and when balanced, it can become a valuable ally. The goal is not to destroy the ego, but to integrate it harmoniously so that it serves your deeper vision rather than dominates it. When the ego aligns with your inner self, it becomes a vehicle for manifesting the invisible into the tangible world. Learning to transcend the ego is not an act of rejection, but of integration. Through this process, you can activate your inner vision and begin to see the invisible not just as something abstract, but as a living, accessible reality in your daily life. Imagination is one of the most powerful tools we possess for activating inner vision. Often underestimated or relegated to the realm of the childish, imagination is actually a doorway into the invisible. In its purest form, It is the vehicle that allows us to access dimensions beyond the physical, bringing into the present that which is not visible to the naked eye. Imagination is not simply the creation of fictitious or unreal images, but the ability to explore possibilities that have not yet been manifested in the physical world. It is an extension of consciousness that allows you to transcend the limitations of time and space. When you use your imagination, you enter a realm where the laws of ordinary reality no longer apply. This is where the invisible becomes tangible. This type of imagination is not escape, but expansion. It opens you up to new ways of seeing, perceiving, and understanding the world. When you learn to use your imagination as a conscious tool, you can activate your inner vision and begin to explore the realms of the unseen in a more intentional way. Imagination, then, becomes the bridge between the known and the unknown. It is important to distinguish between two types of imagination: creative and reactive. Creative imagination is expansive, allowing the mind to explore without limitations, opening new horizons and connecting you with the invisible. Reactive imagination, on the other hand, is driven by fear, worry, or repetitive mental patterns. This type of imagination keeps you trapped in fictional scenarios that only amplify your insecurities. The key to activating your inner vision is to cultivate a creative imagination, where you can freely explore new ideas, visions, and concepts. This type of imagination pushes you to question established perceptions and expand the boundaries of what you consider possible. Seeing the invisible is not a passive process, but one that requires an active, flexible, and open mind. Imagination is closely linked to intuition. Often, intuition first manifests itself as an image or sensation that arises in your mind spontaneously. When your imagination is aligned with your intuition, you begin to receive visions and ideas that come from a deeper level of your consciousness. These visions are not mere fantasies, but clues to realities that you have not yet consciously discovered. When you use your imagination intuitively, you are tuning into the invisible. Often, what you see in your mind first as an image or an abstract sensation is a reflection of a deeper truth that has not yet manifested itself. Cultivating this relationship between imagination and intuition is essential to activating your inner vision, as it allows you to decipher the messages that the invisible world is constantly sending you. A powerful technique for activating your inner vision is creative visualization. This process involves consciously using your imagination to create mental images that represent what you wish to experience or understand. By practicing visualization, you are training your mind to see the invisible as if it were already visible, bringing into the present that which has not yet been manifested. Creative visualization is not just a mental exercise, but a profound act of creation. By visualizing, you are aligning your mind and being with the energies you wish to attract or the truths you want to understand. This technique allows you to activate your inner vision by making the invisible tangible in your mind, allowing you to experience a future reality in the present. Imagination has the power to transform your reality. What you visualize in your mind begins to influence your thoughts, emotions, and actions, and eventually the physical world around you. By activating your inner vision, imagination becomes a channel through which you can manifest the invisible in your daily life. Great ideas, inventions, and changes in history have been born from the human ability to imagine what does not yet exist. When you realize that imagination is a transformative force, you begin to use it with more intention. Instead of allowing your mind to wander or focus on negative scenarios, you can direct your imagination toward creating higher realities. In doing so, you train your inner vision to see what others cannot see, and you connect with the infinite potentiality that resides in the invisible world. One of the biggest barriers to seeing the invisible is the limitation of the conditioned mind. From the time we are children, we learn to see the world in a fixed way, to accept what we are told is real, and to ignore what does not fit into that structure. Imagination is one of the most effective tools for breaking through these mental limitations. When you imagine the impossible, you are challenging the beliefs that have been imposed on you and allowing your vision to expand. To activate your inner vision, you must be willing to break away from the mental limitations you have inherited. This requires courage, as challenging established norms always involves a degree of uncertainty. However, when you free your mind from the imposed restrictions, you open yourself up to a world of infinite possibilities. Seeing the invisible becomes a matter of mental training. The more you practice expanding your imagination, the more the doors of the unknown will open before you. Play is a natural way to activate the imagination. When you play, you allow yourself to explore without fear of failure or judgment, and you tap into an endless source of creativity. Children, with their innate ability to imagine the impossible, are living examples of how play opens the doors to the invisible. As we grow up, we often lose this ability due to the demands of adult life, but regaining it is essential to activating your inner vision. Play and creativity connect you to your most authentic essence and allow you to see the world through new eyes. When you adopt a playful attitude toward life, you free yourself from self-imposed restrictions and allow yourself to imagine possibilities beyond the visible. Seeing the invisible becomes an experience of wonder and curiosity, rather than an exercise in effort or struggle. Like any skill, imagination can be trained and strengthened. By practicing creative visualization, exploring your dreams, and allowing yourself to play with ideas and images without judgment, you can develop a more powerful and conscious imagination. Not only will this help you see the invisible, but it will also transform your life on all levels, allowing you to manifest your deepest desires and understand the subtlest realities. To train your imagination, start by taking time each day to visualize what you want to experience or understand. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and allow your mind to create clear, vivid images of what you long for. Don't worry about the accuracy or logic of what you visualize. Simply allow yourself to explore without restriction. Over time, you'll notice that your ability to imagine becomes sharper and that you begin to see the unseen more clearly. Finally, remember that every future begins with an imagined vision. Ideas, inventions, social movements, and personal transformations are first born in the mind as a spark of imagination. By activating your inner vision and using imagination as a conscious tool, you are laying the groundwork for a future more aligned with your deepest aspirations. Seeing the unseen is ultimately the first step toward creating a new world. Imagination gives you the power to see beyond what is and to visualize what can be. By using it with intention and openness, you connect with the creative essence of the universe and become a co-creator of your own reality. Inner vision, then, is not just a passive gift, but an active skill that you can develop to transform your life and the world around you. Contemplation is a doorway that leads us deep into the self and into the invisible dimensions that surround it, while imagination leads us into the creative exploration of what does not yet exist. Contemplation immerses us in what is already present, but remains hidden from plain sight. In the stillness of contemplation, inner vision begins to blossom, revealing invisible realities that have always been around us. We live in a world full of noise, both external and internal. Constant demands, repetitive thoughts, and everyday distractions tend to cloud our ability to see beyond the obvious. To activate inner vision, silence is an essential tool. Silence is not just the absence of sound, but a state of inner stillness that allows us to connect with the invisible. In silence, our perceptions become more acute, and we begin to notice what normally goes unnoticed. It is in this space that answers, insights, and deep truths begin to emerge effortlessly. Silent contemplation is therefore an exercise in opening up to what is beyond the boundaries of the conscious mind. When you enter this state, you activate a vision that transcends the physical and connects you to the spiritual. One of the most powerful means of practicing contemplation is through the observation of nature. Nature teaches us to see the invisible through the visible. Every leaf, every tree, every river is a physical manifestation of a deeper reality. When we contemplate nature, we are not only observing the outside world, but we are also entering into our own being. Connecting with nature allows us to see patterns, rhythms, and cycles that reflect the same dynamics that operate within us. The growth of a tree, the flow of water, or the flight of a bird are all symbols that, when contemplated, teach us lessons about life and the invisible reality. Nature acts as a mirror that reflects the invisible into the visible, revealing to us profound truths about the cosmos and about ourselves. Contemplation is not simply observing, but observing with full attention and without judgment. When you practice mindful observation, you begin to notice the subtle details that previously went unnoticed. This practice allows you to train your mind to see the invisible by tuning into what is beyond the surface. Mindful observation is a powerful tool for activating inner vision, as it trains your mind to be present in the moment and to appreciate the deeper layers of reality. In this state, you realize that the invisible is not separate from the visible, but that both coexist in a constant dance. What once seemed ordinary begins to reveal a wealth of meaning and depth. Contemplation is not only about observing the outside world, but also about immersing yourself in the vast world within. Often, we spend so much time looking for answers outside ourselves that we forget the richness that lies within. Inner contemplation invites us to explore the landscape of our own consciousness, to travel to the depths of our being where the deepest answers reside. By stopping to contemplate your own being, you begin to perceive patterns of thought, emotions, and beliefs that form your inner reality. This process of self-knowledge is key to activating your inner vision, since the more you know yourself, the more you can understand and see the invisible realities around you. Seeing the invisible begins with seeing what is within you. Through deep contemplation, an awakening of consciousness occurs. This awakening does not happen instantly, but gradually, as a continuous process of expansion and opening. By contemplating carefully, you realize that the reality you experience is only a small fraction of what really exists. This awakening leads you to question your habitual perceptions and to expand your vision to include what was previously invisible to you. This awakening of consciousness is the activation of inner vision. You begin to see beyond the physical and perceive the subtle energies, intentions, and invisible connections that are part of every experience. By being more awake, you become more sensitive to the signs of the universe, to the synchronicities and invisible patterns that guide your life. Detachment is a fundamental component in the practice of contemplation. Often, our perceptions are colored by expectations, desires, and fears, limiting our ability to see the unseen. When you become too attached to an idea or a particular way of seeing the world, you close yourself off to other possibilities. True contemplation requires detachment, which means being open to whatever reveals itself, without imposing judgment or resistance. This state of openness allows you to see reality as it is, not as you wish it were. Detachment frees you from the mental and emotional limitations that prevent your inner vision from being fully activated. Although contemplation may sound like an esoteric practice or reserved for moments of retreat, it is something you can incorporate into your daily life. Every moment is an opportunity to practice contemplation, to be fully present and open to what the moment is revealing to you. From the most mundane activities to the most meaningful moments, contemplation allows you to be in tune with the depth of every experience. By developing this practice, your inner vision is constantly activated, allowing you to see the invisible even in the most everyday situations. Contemplation teaches you that the invisible is not reserved for special moments, but is present in every corner of your life. It is important to find a balance between contemplation and action. Contemplation gives you deep insight and understanding beyond the visible, but it is also essential to translate that insight into action. Contemplation without action can become sterile, while action without contemplation can become shallow. As you activate your inner vision through contemplation, it is also crucial that you find ways to integrate that vision into your daily life. The wisdom you gain through contemplation is not meant to stay in the realm of the invisible, but to be brought into the visible world through your actions, decisions, and relationships. Contemplation brings you into a deep connection with the invisible, revealing the subtlest truths of the universe. This process is not something you can force, but something that happens naturally when you allow yourself to be silent, present, and open. The revelations that arise through contemplation can be transformative, changing the way you see the world and yourself. When you practice contemplation regularly, you begin to realize that the invisible has always been present, waiting to be seen. Inner vision becomes a powerful tool for navigating life with more wisdom, clarity, and connection to the world around you. What once seemed hidden now becomes visible, and your life is enriched with a new depth of meaning. Contemplation is ultimately a path to truth. It teaches you to see the invisible not just as an abstract concept, but as a tangible reality that is intertwined with every aspect of your life. By learning to contemplate with attention and detachment, you activate your inner vision and open yourself to a new way of seeing the world, one that transcends the limitations of the visible and connects you to the vast mystery of the invisible. Intuition is one of the most powerful tools for activating inner vision. While intellect is based on logic, intuition is based on a deeper, subtler form of knowing coming from our inner being. Intuition is the ability to sense, to perceive what cannot be seen directly, to hear the murmur of the invisible amidst the noise of the world. Intuition acts as a bridge between the visible and the invisible, between the tangible world and the more subtle dimensions of existence. We often dismiss our hunches, those inner feelings that suggest something is happening, something is going to change, or that we should take a specific direction. But intuition is an expression of our inner vision in action, and learning to trust it is critical to activating that vision. Our intuition allows us to perceive connections that the intellect cannot grasp. It helps us sense energies, read between the lines, and see beyond appearances. It is like an internal compass that guides us toward what is true for us, even when we do not have all the logical or obvious information. For intuition to fully activate, it is necessary to develop a relationship with our inner silence. This silence is not simply the absence of sound, but a conscious pause that allows us to hear what the outside world cannot tell us. By practicing being present and quieting the mind, we open space for intuition to manifest. Listening to your intuition takes practice and, above all, trust. Often, intuitions come in brief moments like flashes or subtle sensations, and it's easy to ignore or doubt them. However, the more attention we pay to these small signals, the stronger they become. Listening to our intuition is like tuning an instrument. The more we do it, the more precise the sounds and perceptions become. The unconscious plays a key role in triggering intuition and therefore insight. Most of what we are and what we experience remains outside the reach of our conscious mind. Our conscious mind can only process a small fraction of what is happening around us, but our unconscious absorbs and processes the rest, storing vast volumes of information that are accessible through intuition. When we trust our intuition, we are accessing this vast bank of knowledge and experience that resides in our unconscious. This is where patterns connect, where invisible signals become visible through small impulses, hunches, or impressions. What appears to be a simple intuition is often the manifestation of a deeper process in which our unconscious mind has gathered information and connections that our intellect was unable to grasp. One of the biggest challenges in activating intuition is learning to trust it, especially when it seems to go against logic or what other people may consider reasonable. Intuition often leads us down paths that don't seem obvious or that challenge our preconceptions. It can guide us toward decisions that seem risky or difficult to rationally justify. However, intuition speaks to us from a place of inner truth that often transcends reason. Trusting intuition doesn't mean abandoning logic or reason, but rather integrating them in a more balanced way. Sometimes intuition can provide us with the keys we need to make better decisions that are aligned with our inner truth. Inner vision is fully activated when we are able to balance both aspects, intuition and logic, the invisible and the visible. Tools to develop intuition. There are various practices that can help you strengthen your intuition and therefore activate your inner vision more powerfully. Meditation. Meditation helps you connect with inner silence and calm the mind, making it easier to listen to your intuition. Visualization. Visualization allows you to access internal images and symbols that can give you intuitive information. Time in nature. As we mentioned before, nature connects us with the invisible and helps us tune in with our intuition. These practices help you train your mind and being to recognize and honor the signals that come from your inner vision. Intuition not only guides you in everyday decisions, but it is also a powerful spiritual guide. Many times, the answers you seek in the outside world are already within you, waiting to be heard. Intuition connects you to a greater source, to a wisdom that transcends time and space, and helps you align with your deeper purpose. Activating your inner vision through intuition is, in many ways, a way to reconnect with your most authentic self and the flow of life itself. By being more in tune with your intuition, you become more aware of the synchronicities that occur in your life, of the moments when the universe seems to be speaking directly to you. You realize that the answers you seek outside of yourself are often already present deep within you. One of the biggest barriers to activating intuition is fear. Fear of the unknown, the unseen, the things we cannot control, often causes us to doubt our intuitions or ignore them altogether. However, to fully activate your inner vision, you need to face that fear and allow yourself to trust what you cannot see with your physical eyes. Intuition, like insight, requires courage. It requires you to open yourself to the unknown and trust that there is something beyond what you can fully see or understand. By overcoming fear, you open yourself to new possibilities and a greater understanding of yourself and the world. As you strengthen your intuition and your ability to trust it, you begin to experience greater inner clarity. That clarity allows you to see the bigger picture of the situations you find yourself in and helps you make decisions that are in alignment with your deepest truth. Intuition ultimately leads you toward an expanded view of life, where the unseen intertwines with the visible, and answers that once seemed hidden are now revealed. Inner vision is not something that is activated all at once, but is an ongoing process of awakening and expansion. As you trust your intuition more, you begin to see the world from a new perspective, one in which the unseen is not only perceived, but also understood and used as a powerful guide for your life. Intuition is one of the most important keys to unlocking that vision, and by honoring and cultivating it, you will be activating not only your ability to see the invisible, but also to live a more authentic, fulfilling life aligned with your inner self. One of the greatest challenges in activating your inner vision is overcoming the illusions of the outside world. From the moment we are born, we are immersed in a world that is defined by what we can see, touch, and measure. However, this visible reality is often filled with distractions that take us away from the deeper truth that resides within our being. The process of seeing the invisible requires stripping away those illusions and learning to perceive beyond what appears real to the naked eye. We live in a world where appearances are valued over substance. We are taught to judge by what we see on the surface, to make decisions based on what seems obvious or what is socially accepted. But appearances can be deceiving. What meets the eye does not always reflect the deeper truth of a situation, a person, or even ourselves. Activating inner vision involves looking beyond appearances, developing the ability to see the essence. This can be difficult in a society that constantly pressures us to value the external over the internal. However, when we begin to shed this illusion, we discover a whole new dimension of perception. We realize that true value lies in what cannot be seen with the physical eyes, but in what is felt and experienced at a deeper level. Another of the great illusions that we need to overcome in order to activate our inner vision is the illusion of control. As human beings, we tend to want to control everything around us. We want to have control over our lives, our decisions, our relationships, and our future. However, this desire for control often distances us from our intuition and from the connection with the invisible. True power lies not in controlling external circumstances, but in flowing with them, in trusting what we cannot see or foresee. When we try to control everything, we close ourselves off to possibilities that exist beyond our conscious understanding. Control is a form of resistance that blocks connection to the invisible. By letting go of control, we open the space for inner vision to expand and for the invisible to begin to reveal itself naturally. The constant noise of the outside world is a distraction that takes us away from our inner vision. The opinions, judgments, and expectations of others can cloud our perception of the invisible and divert our attention to the superficial. It is easy to get caught up in the frenetic pace of modern life, where worth is measured by external achievements and social validation. To see the invisible, we need to make a conscious effort to tune out the noise of the world. This doesn't mean isolating ourselves, but rather developing the ability to maintain inner clarity even in the midst of chaos. The outside world will always be full of distractions, but by training our mind and being to focus on what really matters, we begin to see beyond the distractions and perceive the truths that are hidden behind them. Fear of the unknown is one of the biggest barriers to activating insight. We cling to what we know because it gives us a sense of security, even if that security is illusory. Insight requires us to step into uncertainty, to trust what we cannot see or predict, and to be willing to walk paths that are not always clearly defined. This fear of uncertainty is a trap that keeps our perception limited. It prevents us from seeing the invisible because we are too busy seeking security in the visible. However, real growth occurs when we learn to embrace uncertainty, when we accept that not everything in life can be controlled or understood immediately. By overcoming the fear of the unknown, we open our inner eyes to a more expansive reality and a deeper understanding of what is possible. Inner vision is activated most powerfully when we are willing to walk in uncertainty. Instead of looking for definitive answers or assurances in the outside world, we learn to trust our inner self and the wisdom that emerges from within. This wisdom does not always present itself clearly or immediately, but when we learn to trust the process, we find that the answers we seek are always available, though sometimes not in the way we expected. By activating our inner vision, we begin to see the invisible not as a threat, but as an opportunity to grow, to expand, and to discover new dimensions of ourselves and the world. Uncertainty is no longer perceived as something terrifying, but as a space of infinite possibility. By overcoming the illusions of control, external noise, appearances, and the fear of uncertainty, we begin to experience a deeper reality. This reality is not based on what we can see or touch, but on what we can feel and experience in our inner being. It is a reality that transcends the visible and connects us to the invisible, to the essential truth that lies beyond the distractions of the world. This process of shedding illusions is ongoing. It is not something that happens overnight, but is a journey we take throughout our lives. As we progress along this path, our inner vision becomes clearer and our ability to see the invisible expands. We realize that visible reality is only a small part of a much larger whole, and that what we cannot see with our physical eyes is often far more significant. Tools to overcome illusions. Overcoming the illusions of the outside world takes practice and dedication. Here are some tools that can help you in this process. Self-observation. Pay attention to your thoughts and emotions. Ask yourself if they are based on inner truth or if they are influenced by the illusions of the outside world. Detachment. Practice detachment from outcomes and the need for control. Learn to trust the process and what you cannot see or foresee. Meditation and inner silence. These practices help you disconnect from external noise and connect with your inner truth, where illusions dissolve. Embrace uncertainty. Learn to view uncertainty as an opportunity for growth and expansion, rather than something to be feared or avoided. These tools help you stay focused on what really matters and not get sidetracked by the illusions that constantly surround us. By using them, you begin to live from a deeper and more authentic perception, where the invisible becomes as real and tangible as the visible. As you continue to activate your inner vision, you realize that the illusions of the outside world are just passing shadows. What is real, what is true, cannot be seen with the eyes, but can be felt deep within the soul. By overcoming illusions, you align yourself with that truth and begin to live from a place of greater clarity, authenticity, and power. Seeing the unseen is not just a mystical ability, but a way of life that allows you to navigate the world with greater understanding and wisdom. By stripping away illusions, you are activating an inner vision that guides you to your deeper truth and connects you to the unseen forces that shape your life. By activating your inner vision and learning to see the unseen, you embark on a journey of discovery and connection that goes beyond the everyday. One of the most fascinating and revealing experiences on this path is synchronicity, the phenomenon in which events, thoughts, and feelings seem to align in meaningful ways. Synchronicities can serve as powerful signs, guiding you toward a greater understanding of yourself and your place in the world. Synchronicity is the manifestation of meaningful connections between events that, at first glance, seem random. These connections can be experiences, encounters, or even thoughts that emerge at unexpected times. The idea of synchronicity is often associated with the perception that the universe is trying to communicate with you, inviting you to pay attention to the signs around you. In the context of insight, synchronicity acts as a beacon that lights the way to deeper understanding. When you begin to see beyond the visible, you become more receptive to these connections, realizing that every experience has a purpose, every encounter has meaning. Synchronicities become confirmations that you are in tune with the flow of life. To experience synchronicity in your life, it is essential to cultivate an attitude of receptivity and attention. This involves being present in the moment, paying attention to details and small coincidences that may seem insignificant at first. Life is full of subtle clues, and often, it is these small signs that guide us to greater understanding. Practicing meditation and mindfulness can help you develop this receptivity. By taking time to be quiet and observe your thoughts and emotions, you become more aware of your surroundings and the connections that arise around you. Meditation also helps you reduce mental noise, allowing synchronicities to emerge more clearly. Synchronicities can be interpreted as messages from the universe, guiding you on your personal journey. When you meet a person who inspires you, or when a book comes into your hands at just the right time, these are examples of how the universe may be orchestrating connections for you. These experiences can act as reminders that you are on the right path, or they can serve to divert you into new directions you hadn't considered. It's important to learn how to interpret these signals. Each person has their own way of perceiving synchronicity, so it's essential to listen to your intuition and reflect on what each experience means to you. In this process, you may discover that synchronicities not only reveal truths about the world around you, but also about yourself. Intuition plays a pivotal role in sensing synchronicity. As you activate your inner vision, your intuition is likely to become more acute, allowing you to identify patterns and connections that would have previously gone unnoticed. Intuition is that inner voice that whispers truths to your being, guiding you toward decisions and paths that resonate with your essence. When you trust your intuition, you open yourself up to the possibility of synchronicities manifesting in your life. This trust allows you to act on the signs you perceive, whether it's reaching out to someone who appears in your thoughts or exploring a new opportunity that presents itself. In doing so, you align yourself with the flow of life, allowing synchronicities to guide you into the unseen. To better understand synchronicities, it's helpful to reflect on your experiences. Journaling can be a powerful tool in this regard. Writing down your thoughts, emotions, and any significant events that occur in your life helps you identify patterns and connections. Over time, you may notice how certain experiences weave together, revealing a common thread that leads you toward deeper understanding. Reflection also allows you to evaluate how synchronicities affect your life. Ask yourself, what messages am I receiving? How can I integrate these experiences into my daily life? As you develop greater awareness of synchronicities, you will also strengthen your inner vision, making it a valuable tool for navigating the world. Synchronicities are also related to the process of creation. As you step into your inner vision, you begin to recognize that you have the power to manifest what you desire in your life. Synchronicities act as confirmations that you are in tune with your intentions and desires. When you align with your inner vision, you are more likely to experience meaningful events that reflect what you are creating. Conscious creation involves being proactive in your life, setting clear intentions, and being open to the possibility that the universe will respond. Synchronicities become a way of seeing how your thoughts and desires manifest into reality. By observing these connections, you can learn to trust the process of creation and your ability to shape your life. Finally, it is important to recognize that synchronicity is not an isolated event, but part of an ongoing cycle. As you practice receptivity and mindfulness, you are likely to encounter more synchronicity in your life. This cycle of seeing the unseen and receiving signs can take you to new heights in your personal journey. In the end, synchronicity reminds you that you are not alone on this journey. There's a larger network connecting you to the universe and to others. Every signal you receive is a reminder that you are on the right path, navigating the flow of life, where the invisible becomes visible. Activating your inner vision and perceiving synchronicity are skills that are cultivated over time. As you continue to explore and develop your vision, you will begin to notice how synchronicities enrich your life, providing you with valuable guidance and reminding you that you are in tune with the universe. As you complete this journey on how to activate your inner vision and see the invisible, it is essential to reflect on the impact this process has on your life and your personal transformation. This journey is not just about developing an ability to see beyond the obvious. It is about a profound metamorphosis that affects all aspects of your existence. Inner vision is more than just perception. It is a powerful tool that allows you to connect with your true self. As you explore the unseen, you begin to shed the layers of conditioning and limitations that have influenced your life. Inner vision acts as a mirror that reflects your hidden beliefs, desires, and potentials, offering you the opportunity to transform yourself. When you dare to look within, you confront your fears and doubts, and it is in this confrontation that true transformation begins. Inner vision encourages you to explore your shadows and accept the parts of yourself that you often avoid. This process of acceptance is liberating and allows you to emerge stronger and more authentic. As you activate your inner vision, you also unlock your creativity. Connecting with the invisible opens new avenues of thought and expression, allowing you to see innovative solutions to old problems. Creativity becomes a natural flow that flows from your being, enriching your life and the lives of those around you. This renewed creativity is not limited to the arts. It extends to all areas of your life, from your relationships to your career. As you become more receptive to synergies and connections, you can manifest surprising and rewarding outcomes. Inner vision invites you to experience life from a place of abundance and possibility, rather than limitation. One of the most significant transformations that comes from activating your inner vision is the deepening of your connections with others. When you begin to see beyond the superficial, you become more empathetic and understanding. Perceiving the invisible allows you to pick up on the emotions and needs of others, facilitating more authentic and meaningful relationships. These connections not only enrich your life, but they also allow you to contribute to the well-being of others. Inner vision inspires you to be a beacon of light in the lives of those around you. By sharing your insights and growth, you help others activate their own vision and embark on their own journey of transformation. Activating your inner vision is an ongoing journey. It is not a destination, but rather a constantly evolving process. As you continue to explore the invisible, you are confronted with new experiences and lessons that enrich your life. Each step you take on this path brings you closer to your essence and purpose. It is important to remember that along this journey there may be moments of doubt and difficulty. However, every challenge is an opportunity to grow and learn. Inner vision provides you with the tools to face adversity with courage and determination. Trust that every experience, whether positive or negative, contributes to your development. As you complete this transformational journey, the key is to integrate your inner vision into your daily life. This involves not only recognizing the unseen, but also applying that wisdom to your decisions, actions, and relationships. Integration is the bridge between your personal growth and the outside world. Take time to reflect on how you can incorporate your vision into your daily routine. Whether through meditation practices, journaling, or simply paying attention to the synchronicities that arise in your life, integration is key to staying connected to your inner vision. Finally, celebrate your growth and transformation. Acknowledge the accomplishments, no matter how small, and honor the journey you've been on. Activating your inner vision is a gift that allows you to see the beauty and meaning in every experience. Remember that personal growth is not a linear process. There are ups and downs and unexpected twists. However, every moment of reflection and every revelation brings you closer to your true self. Celebrate your progress and don't be afraid to share your experiences with others. In doing so, you inspire others to embark on their own journey toward activating their inner vision. This is your call to action. Allow yourself to explore the invisible, to activate your inner vision, and to transform your life. Don't just live on the surface. Dive into the depths of your being and discover the wisdom that resides within you. Life is full of possibilities waiting to be discovered. By activating your inner vision, you become an agent of change, not only for yourself, but also for the world around you. Every step you take on this journey is a testament to your ability to see beyond the visible and to embrace the magic of life in its entirety. Remember that the journey to transformation begins with the first step. Trust your inner vision and allow yourself to be guided by the flow of the universe. The invisible is waiting to be discovered, and you have the power to activate it in your life. If this message has resonated with you and you are ready to take the next step in your transformation journey, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and turn on the notification bell. I would also love to read your thoughts in the comments, so share the quote, "Seeing the invisible is a gift we can all activate,"